and being able to be afforded $2 million was based off of the value that what she did on TikTok provided to Dr. Pepper, right? It wasn't really about the size of her reach, but it was about how well that... Okay, it wasn't about the size of her reach in terms of the followers she has and how big of a creator she is, right? Prior to that
overall
jingle.
Story to it.
But the story and the conversation surrounding the thing that she did is what kind of drove this whole campaign.
The funny thing, like, kama si dhika kinaswata kungekuwa na Frank kama nani.
Tukego tunafanya shit tunafanya sai.
Crazy.
As fuck, bro.
Pull up with that gang kama Taliban kwanga juju mimi mkali when I pull up with that gang wanga ngori man tunaponga juu mwezi fika kwa igari pull up with that gang kama Taliban kwanga juju mimi mkali when I pull up with that gang wanga ngori man tunaponga juu mwezi fika kwa igari ai kabla uzaliwe nilikuwa nacheza soko bana ukazaliwa that time nilikuwa na dokoma link up na big kufanya nini mosho man.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 166 of the 30% podcast. I go by a fine African man, aka Afam. My co-host is Sam the Jedediah Are, and together we form the 30% podcast, a podcast that focuses on the Kenyan music industry, where we talk about all the glitz and glamour from your favorite Kenyan artists, and we also speculate on some things here and there. Sam, what's up? Tell the people how you are.
I am doing great. Decent. I'm doing very decently. Yeah, it's a chill mode, chill life here. Very chill life. How are you? What's going on?
Bro, I'm good, man. Yeah, it's hard. It's hardly a chill life. It's so hot over here, man.
Oh yeah.
Like,
The sun's been out, but that's welcome for you, though, right? You'd rather this than
so welcome. Kwanzaa,
zero.
I dodged there's a snowstorm front like in New York at the moment.
Is that thing real? There's people who are
bro.
saying that's cap. Like that people are blowing it out
No,
of
it's
proportion.
no. It's real. Like literally, I've had messages from some of my friends back there who've shown me like how bad it's gotten.
Dang, thoughts
So
and
it's
prayers,
real,
bro.
and I'm so happy that I'm out here in the sun,
In the
But I'm
tropical
doing
weather,
good, man.
mosquitoes and everything.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
With the mosquitoes and everything, man. I'm doing good. Just getting acclimatized. Had a bit of jet lag the past week, but
Fun.
now I'm getting up to speed with the East African time. Still trying to read. Oh, somebody who listens to the podcast reached out and they were like, "Yo, the Robin Hobb books are so sick." So I'm not the only one.
Y'all
Listen,
actually took his advice. Well, that's good.
No. They didn't take my advice. They had already read the book. Sorry. Let me clarify.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they were just kind of saying, "Yo, that series is really crazy," which it is. I'm now on the second book of the Greenbone saga by Fonda Lee. It's called Jade War. Man, it's one of those mafia style books, but like the Japanese like style mafia. If in case you're interested, Sam, I don't know if you're interested in that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, mafia Japanese. Yeah, yeah. I was just thinking
Like
about
the
that actually
Yakuza,
earlier in
like-
the day. The mafia and the Japanese, for sure.
Yeah, it's like it's like, imagine if the Yakuza had like special powers. That's what it is, man. So it's kind of cool, man. They use jade, the stone, like the jade no, it's not a crystal, but this jade stone. That's what gives them their powers. It's actually
What
a
kind of
really,
powers?
really interesting book. So they have powers that amplify like your abilities. So it amplifies your ability to perceive things, your perception. It can make you steel yourself so you don't get hurt when you're being beaten. It can make you like be able to propel things, and you can also propel yourself. It's actually really interesting, but it's a very
I've heard of a couple of substances that that can get that done as well.
You know how they be saying all the crackheads
It's not as rare as a jade stone. I'll tell you that. Like, it's easy. You can find it right on the corner, just right here. Anyway.
Oh my god, bro. But aside from that, I'm sad as well.
Oh, what happened, man?
Arsenal,
Let me know. I'm a trained psychotherapist. Let's go.
Arsenal lost last night, and it was a very tough loss to take.
Yo. No, it was, and it's the worst too, because I feel like that's I saw something that
losing to Man U is the worst thing.
Yeah, I saw something that said that over 700 million people were going. I don't know if that's true, but then over 700 million people were going to tune into that game. Like, that's one of the most watched fixtures of all time, right next to the El Clasico. So yeah, that
people were out in droves on Thika Road because that Manu won. I'm just like,
yeah, go back
listen,
home.
Oh, it's so so
outside.
cute to see Manu fans so happy to beat Arsenal. Like, oh my, I know this is the highlight of y'all's lives. It's so cute. It's so cute and nice. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Here's your trophy for beating Arsenal.
No, don't do that. See,
you have your I beat Arsenal.
Don't do that, because when people
trophy.
do it to Arsenal as well, they get annoyed when you're just giving out trophies to make yourself feel better. Hey, listen, the team lost. Sports, it's just people are too invested. That's my thing, and I know why. But then people are just too invested. Like, it's okay to watch from the stands. I wasn't watching from the stands. I was screaming and punching things, but it's okay. Anyway, yeah, we lost.
You were screaming and punching. I can't even picture Sam
silent
screaming
screams.
and punching.
Silent screams. It wasn't like loud.
Oh,
that would be
that makes
7:30 in the night.
Sense.
Just hear someone randomly yelling. Zubimendi couldn't pass the ball properly. Yeah, but that was fun.
A concept I've never really wrapped my head around. I know this is gonna be so random, but remember there was a time when a lot of people used to report night runners.
What, they used to do what to Night Runner?
People used to talk about night runners. Like, that was a thing in Kenya where people used to like take off their clothes and run at night.
It was actually a thing.
I've never wrapped my head around that. I've like, what inspires you to like do that?
I don't know, man. I guess the concept
makes no sense.
And why is that? Why is that tied to what we're talking about?
Like, why is? No, it's because you were talking about. I don't know why. It's because you're talking about like people hearing you doing something,
Okay,
and it just sparked like a memory.
Yeah, stripping down and just taking off. I don't know. Maybe it's freeing. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't advise it, but
maybe I don't. I free. There's other ways to get that same.
there's other ways to
feeling,
feel free.
There really is. Wait. So you haven't even told us like what else you did with your week?
Oh, I didn't do nothing. Well, I didn't do nothing. I'm learning photography, so I was learning a new style of photography. I'm trying to learn how to do what do you real estate photography. So I was out there taking photos of empty rooms and decor, and with lighting.
Real
and everything.
estate photography. That's very interesting.
That's fun.
Okay.
Just adding more skills to the what's the thing that they put swords in? To the sword holder.
Scabbard.
Yeah. Just adding more skills. But apart from that,
is that like for knives though? I think the scabbard is for knives. I don't know what the sword is.
No. Someone let us know. But yeah, just I did that, so that's fun. Hoping to get good at that. And apart from that, nothing else. Apart from music conceptualizing. January is almost over. It's crazy. January is almost over, and I'm scared now because time.
Why?
Time is running.
Time flies. Flies. It's so crazy. Like, bro. And I feel like the older you get, the faster it goes.
Yeah, because last year was a blur. The past 6 years have been a blur, which is ridiculous. So, anyway,
like COVID being 6 or 5 and something.
Yeah, that doesn't make
much
much sense. That doesn't make much sense. I was also recounting that when I left high school, and it's.
Let's not even start there. You know what? Let's talk about happier topics. Actually, Sam.
Yeah.
Let's not even start talking about that
happy.
stuff.
But apart from that, I did a couple of days ago. Chaxy. Shout out to Chaxy. Chaxy of the Mic Check podcast and other things. Upside Digital. He released the first episode of Conversations with Chaxy. And he had the Godfather himself up there, Nonini. And that was very good. That was just very a good. I can't speak. It was a very good video, 2 hours long. I'm a really huge fan of history, if you don't know. And so I just love hearing about how things came together and how the birth of like Caliph Records and how that started, and the competition that they had with Ogopa and how it was a competition and how it wasn't a competition, and the things that debunk popular topics around and all that stuff, and just seeing the evolution of artists from like their first song and getting to the studio to where they are now. So yeah, it was a very good conversation. Just having Chaxy, Nonini, they were up there. I think it was being shot in Snowball. Bonai was also there, and just chiming in with like different things. So it was very good. They had a lot of fun. It was very engaging. Nonini talked about a couple of stuff that I found pretty interesting. The main one is, of course, the whole, by now we know, the whole lawsuit that he's had with, is it Brian Mutinda? That's his name. And just talking about influencing. I mean, how before, well, he said allegedly that before suing Brian Mutinda, there was no really, like he set the precedent for artists being able to collect money from influencers, not just corporates. Back then it was corporates. Corporates would pay you for your songs, and that was cool. Like that was known, so you'd price them and then they'll do that. But then influencers just had like free reign. They'll just use your song for whatever, and that was considered exposure for the songs. But then now after that lawsuit, like people are now starting to realize that even when influencers use your songs on their video, then you should get paid for that. Like that's still thing, because essentially it's still like corporates are selling a product and influencers are also selling a product, so they should pay for that. So that was cool. And I don't know what you think about this. He mentioned that the price, the base price for a sync license, for wherever you're syncing it to, should be 4.5 million shillings. Or he said that it is 4.5 million shillings. I don't know how true is that. Do you think that's a realistic thing for corporates? Like if it's both the big dogs like Safaricom and them, and then like what about the small mom and pop shops in the corner? Like, do you think that's a realistic price? Just like gauging, like, would you how much would you want to get paid for just off like using a song of yours?
Okay, so I mean, I don't know if it's realistic, just because I think there's so much that goes behind like the whole sync process, right? Obviously, there's also precedent. How much has typically been spent to get ads done in this specific country, right? And then, secondly, there's so much more that goes into it. The duration of time behind, like how much music was used in the ad. Was it 30 seconds? Was it a minute? Was it 2 minutes? You know what I mean? Now, what different platforms was the ad put on? Was it put on YouTube? Was there like ads done on TV?
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Or on radio as well. Then I feel like there's also, what was the nature of the ad? You know, there's like distinctions between so like on TV, for example, like there's different rates for music that's played when the artist is performing it, or if the music is played just as
an accompaniment for video,
just like a
picture,
just an accompaniment. You know what I mean? Yeah, like there's just different rates for everything. So I think 4.5 million, it sounds like a good figure, but I think it's dangerous if you say that's the base, like not the base, but like that's what it should be.
Yeah.
4.5 million no matter what, because the value of a sync deal could be more than that. You know what I mean? It could be worth 10 million, right? But then all these guys will be like, no.
Yeah,
We've
it's
decided that
4.5.
for
Yeah,
all
yeah.
things,
No,
it's
no, the court
4.5 million.
said.
It'll just give people... Yeah, it'll just give people leeway. It'll give the corporates leeway to kind of manipulate the system. As much as 4.5 million might sound good, like on paper to certain people, I think if we start saying that 4.5 million is the going rate, and then we have leeway to use your ad however we want, that could end up being problematic. So I think it's a more nuanced conversation than just this is how much they're
This is
paying.
how it should be,
and
that's
so
the standard.
after that, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, you pay me 4.5 million and then use my ad for 12 months on all these platforms. You know what I mean? It might not make sense.
Yeah, I also feel like that sort of number in that range, at least in this region, is reserved for the top artists. Like a younger artist that's coming out, I don't think a corporate would. Because again, there's a value. People will only value you because of your name. And so if they want to use your song and then you go quoting 4.5, a lot of, you know, this whole thing where it's like people tend to lowball just so that they can get the gig. I feel like a lot of people would lowball, even with that being the standard. A lot of artists would lowball.
I'm going to sound like you. I'm about to sound like you, but like music shouldn't be about like the value is the value. Like I think the music should have the inherent value other than all these other factors.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at so I don't know how tapped in you are with like TikTok. There's this
Very
one
tapped in,
girl who made a jingle for Dr. Pepper baby is good and nice. Do. Right? So she was like, yo, she's just she was just kind of saying like, yo, this is a good idea, right? And I think this is a good case study. So when she makes that like as a TikTok video, it goes viral. You know, so many brands comment. Dr. Pepper itself comments, and then everybody's like, yo, they should make this an ad. They should give you a bag, etc, etc. It took like 2 weeks and nothing happened, right? And then everybody was like, Dr. Pepper is slacking. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is such a fumble.
Also,
but
it's not a fumble too. Like, she came out of nowhere. Like, I don't know why we expected her to get it just because she did a jingle on TikTok.
Like these things take time to set up. Like, especially on that scale. 2 weeks later, Dr. Pepper come out with a proper like campaign for the thing. They put the jingle in between. I think it was a college game that was happening on ESPN of all places. Do you know how big that is? Like, and they made an actual jingle with her idea. And in addition to that, they even credited her on the like with her like social media like handle, like on the bottom right or bottom left, I can't remember. And I think that's one of those beautiful internet success stories. Now, there's rumors that she made $2 million from that like whole thing. Like that's the rumor that the bag that she got was $2 million, right?
What,
for just coming up with a silly jingle.
260 million shillings. That's crazy.
Million Kenya shillings. And the funny thing is like there's a bunch of people who've been like, yo, she made how much? Yeah, let me make my own jingles now.
I was seeing so many of them now just doing ads for whatever. Bottle
Pepsi,
of water trying to sing.
Seen Pepsi, I've seen every Coca-Cola.
Yeah, but that's a one-off thing. I mean,
but
corporates can't do that now.
Okay,
they'll just be shelling out bags to everybody, and that's not sustainable. But this was good. It was good marketing.
But the point I'm trying to make is, one, it's good marketing, but two, I feel like what she brought to the table, being an unknown creator in the mainstream and being able to be afforded $2 million was based off of the value that what she did on TikTok provided to Dr. Pepper, right? It wasn't really about the size of her reach, but it was about how well that... Okay, it wasn't about the size of her reach in terms of the followers she has and how big of a creator she is, right? Prior to that
overall
jingle.
Story to it.
But the story and the conversation surrounding the thing that she did is what kind of drove this whole campaign. Now back to like, doing sync and stuff like that. Now, if it's a small creator who has a song, right? But it's a good song and it fits the narrative of the brand and it helps really, really amplify and propel whatever it is like that's being marketed, etc., then their value should be tied to that instead of you haven't done anything in your life. We're gonna pay you 10,000 bob and then go your way. You know what I mean? So for me, but I know, like, that's why I'm saying I sound like you, because I know it's idealistic in a sense, because at the end of the day, the corporates. I'm not calling you idealistic. No, but this is usually
like that's a personal flaw that I have.
It's not a flaw. It's not a flaw in the sense that I usually agree with you when you take these stances. It's just that
it's just not real. It's not. It doesn't seem achievable.
Yeah, like corporates are going to find ways to
finesse.
Believe
me, I know, to
finesse essentially. So yeah, I mean, but shout out to Nonini for opening that door with that case.
And just this, I mean, I've heard from just so many different people that it seems to be a big thing where there's just a lot of people. I mean, and of course, you wouldn't know all the cases that are going on because of when you're in court, you're not really allowed to speak about these things publicly. So, but there's a lot of people having cases fighting with corporates for for IP theft. So, shout out to Nonini. That was a really good interview. Among other things that he talked about the history of music and how he recorded some of his music, performing outside of the country, giving Diamond. They talked about giving Diamond his start. Well, not Nonini, but I think it was Pioneer that did that. So anyway, it's really good. Shout out to Chaxy. I'm really interested in seeing the next ones.
I want to go back to, before even we move on, like I want to go back to the one thing you said earlier about like the competition between Caliph and Ogopa and how that really propelled like the scene. I think that's a big thing that we're missing. Recently, I saw, and this is tied to Mic Check again, like they were interviewing Big Pin, and he was kind of talking about his whole like process of working with Lucas, the producer at the time, and how like they had very little like creative control, and like Lucas would just tell them come to the studio, and then they were really at his beck and call, right? They didn't even know like when they would hear the final like mix and master of their music. It was really
sometimes
just up to him.
Other people will hear their music before them.
Exactly. But there was something interesting he said though. He said what Lucas used to do at the time was he'd play you what your peers were doing, and it was sort of to elicit this competitive nature between artists and be like, yo, like that artist like made like something so like Nyashinsky was in the studio and them and Kleptomaniacs, like they created this amazing song, and then me, what am I doing? And then he'd do the same like for the other artists, and it kind of made this competition.
Genius, but that's just such an anxiety-filled
high key.
It's genius though.
So do you think that's something that we are missing in our ecosystem today? Competition, because I really do think competition is what really drives like greatness.
Yeah, I mean back then it was Clemo, it was Lucas, it was a few other guys, Musioka, and then the guys down at River Road, which Nonini really just as a side point, Nonini really broke down how recording deals and putting out music used to work back then, especially with the guys on River Road and all that, which is really great. Like I think it's very interesting in terms of history. But aside from that, I feel like we are missing now, bro. Now everyone has a studio, man. Everyone can just turn on their Windows laptop and put FL and put out the music on their own, which is something that in the start of industries, since everyone used to go through a few channels, there are much, much fewer channels to get your music heard. So you had to go. So there was limited time, and the gatekeepers would put you up against other people to see what is more profitable in terms of time and in terms of attention, in terms of money. And so now that we don't have that, I feel like it's just people, there's less quality control. I think quality control has suffered. Now, I'm not saying back then, like if you go back, after I watched the interview, I went back to listen to a couple of Nonini's albums. And I'm like, okay, using today's standards, like a lot of this stuff won't pass. But then back then, he was at the top. He was at the top of the pool in terms of the different music that was going around. We miss that these days. There's just not much creative quality control. People are just releasing whatever. If it sounds good, I'm going to drop it because I have a few people in my corner. That might not be a bad thing. Maybe you're just catering to your few fans. But then in terms of the industry as a whole, generally, it's good to have that cutthroat competition because then that forces artists to elevate in terms of songwriting, in terms of picking music, picking beats, picking instrumentalists, picking the art that goes with it, videos and everything. It's a lot better for the industry in terms of competition. I think we're missing that. Honestly, I think we're missing that. Also with the lack of having like set labels in the country, there's a few that are doing this and that, and they're all in their own corners. It's not like a general thing. Yeah, we miss that, man. We miss that for sure.
Yeah, because like I feel like even in the high levels of the industry, like BN, for example. Now I know he has that beef with Otile and stuff like that, but it doesn't feel much like a competition between the two. It kind of feels one-sided. But like it's a one-sided beef. But I feel like even at that level, like BN needs competition. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he feels like it just feels like he's competing
lonely
against
at the
himself.
top. Yeah.
Yeah. Kinyanyashinsky, Calligraph, whatever. I feel like we need that energy back where it's like somebody is looking to be the top dog. Like I want to be the best, and we need multiple people doing the same thing or feeling the same way, because that's going to elevate you, because you can't release mid. You have to be on your best game, like to even do anything, because the competition is also like in the stew, like 24/7 trying to like finish you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's nice. I think maybe this is because I'm a competitive person, like by nature, so I see value in that whole angle. But like, and then also like with the labels at that scale, we need more competition. We need there to be like you know what I mean, like two big
like my
labels
spot is
that
not
are
sure.
really,
Yeah.
really like,
Yeah.
So,
but
interesting.
Just additionally, I feel like for the older acts, I feel like they're solidified now. So there's no really, even if there's competition, it's an attitude of I've fought for I fought for my position like all these years, and so I don't really need to fight for it anymore. Like the people know who I am, they know what I'm here to do. I have my tribe, I have my people. So there's not much fighting. I think the fighting will come. I mean, the competition and the edge would come from newer acts, newer artists that are trying to solidify themselves like the older ones. I don't think the older ones have that what do you call it?
They don't have that
anymore.
pressure anymore.
Yeah, there's no more pressure. But
yeah,
anyway, it was a good interview. Go check it out. I'm looking forward to the next ones now. That he has to.
Y'all go check that out. So in international news, so I was reading this article that was saying that half of all paid music streams globally still take place in just 4 countries. The countries in question being the US, Mexico, Brazil, and Germany. And which is expected. 48.9% of premium streams globally in 2025 come from these 4 markets. And we've been talking a lot about how the potential of streaming, especially in the third world markets, is really, really high, but hasn't been tapped. But it was interesting to see Brazil and Mexico, especially like even Mexico. I didn't expect Mexico, but like even Brazil and Mexico in those 4 names. So this article is on Music Business Worldwide, but there was one specific angle that was very, very interesting to me. So all these data points come from Luminate, who provide data for some of the big companies like Billboard. And one thing they were saying was there's a fundamental shift within the music industry. And I wanted to get your perspective on this. Essentially, they say we're in the era of transmedia integration. So what that means is essentially all these musicians and artists and labels are highly invested in not just releasing music, but pairing that music with different media contributions. For example, movies, gaming, television series, that kind of thing, because the consumer base is more interested in having the music integrated with these different platforms so that there's more meaningful consumption behind this music that's being released. And there's another article that shows that Bruno Mars was he did a Roblox concert. So Roblox is a popular game, mainly for kids and stuff like that. But
I wouldn't say popular.
Adults are on it as well.
But no, it is.
But hey, listen. Bruno Mars had 12.8. You know, they've been doing those virtual performances, and he had 12.8 million concurrent users at one point when he was, he's busy rolling out his project now, right? And it's like, wow. So it looks like the major labels and everything are really, really making a concerted effort to focus on this. Like, okay, it's gaming here, it's movies, it's whatever. And I wanted to find out, do you think Kenyan music is at that level, or well, not level, but at that stage where this is becoming like a key concern? Or do you think artists should start really, really thinking about, and it goes to sync as well, like just following up from our previous conversation, do you think it's something that artists should start paying more attention to, where it's like, okay, how is my music in relation to these shows that are coming out at the moment? And the last question, I guess, would be, do you think that's something that Kenyan consumers are concerned about? Do you think Kenyan consumers actively want more transmedia integration with the music that's coming out? Or are we still just content to listen to music as music and consume it as music, and that's it?
I think it's a growth thing. I'll start with the last one. I think it's a growth thing in terms of elevation. Not elevation, in terms of progress, sorry. The more we listen to our own music and stream, the more we play into technology in terms of streaming, it takes us further. So now just listening to music on your phone isn't enough. And then you begin to say, it's a mix between desire from fans, at least in my opinion, a mix between desire from fans and demand in terms of technology, because then now you begin to see films and other things that resonate with you, and you want to now see music as part of it. So it's a progression thing. I don't know if we're there yet. My thought is that, and this will sort of go to the second question. My thought is that we are still in the period where we're trying to figure out how to make our music more generally palatable. And I say generally because I don't think it's a bad thing for music to be unique to us and unique to.
By generally, do you mean like in the global conversation?
Yes. I don't think it's a bad thing that music is unique to us and it speaks to us, and it's our local language. It's our local, not just language in terms of words, but then language in terms of culture. And so we understand that. But then for songs to be accepted worldwide, there has to be like more of like a general appeal. I feel like we've not gotten there yet.
Wait, sorry to interrupt you. Burna Boy released a song recently, like 9 days ago. The one that featured all these athletes. Did you listen to it?
No.
And I think Victor Wanyama was in the lineup.
No, I saw him, but I haven't heard the song yet. Is it dope?
Bro, is it necessarily okay? This is gonna sound so bad, but like, is it necessarily a good thing to make music that has global appeal? Because that song is one of those songs people be like, oh my God, this should have been used as the intro for AFCON or something like that. I'm going to sound like a hater right now, but it's such a generic sounding song.
No, yeah, those ones are
including
generic.
The
Yeah,
video.
the World Cup.
It's like,
the
do you know
World
what I
Cup,
call it? It's
all
like
people coming
Wakanda
together.
music.
Yeah, kumbaya.
It's like
Yeah.
it's for me. It's like Black Panther Wakanda music. I know that sounds bad, but like it's like one of those things where it's like there's no real culture. It's just
Yeah,
like
it's
like
appealing
a
to every-
glazed
exactly.
African like ideology of what African music.
Those
should
don't usually
be
sound
and
good.
how we should represent ourselves.
Yeah, those don't usually sound
It's not.
good.
It's they sound good, but it could be boring. I'm sorry, guys, but like it could be boring.
Oh, there goes,
so
your
the
song,
question
Burna Boy.
so the reason why I was interjecting here is I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for us to be hyper local in the way that we express ourselves.
Neither do I.
Yeah, and so really in terms of establishing this global appeal so that like artists can get their transmedia integrations in this global conversation, right? I think it's more about the people in the business and figuring out ways to leverage this music
Yeah.
for these platforms. I think Kenyans should keep doing what they're doing, but high quality. And then we can sell. We need people creating these infrastructures to sell this music. And by sell, I just mean convince the global narrative
That
to
it's
use this music.
Yeah, exactly.
And that it's worth enough. You know, the value is there. And we've seen instances of it. You know, you've seen Kina LC Wameo get placements for, you know, PES and all that stuff. But we need it to happen more consistently, I guess.
Yeah. And in addition to that, also there's so multiple fields are growing at once. There's a music field where we're growing and where we're trying to, you know, go out and just do more in the global scene. Film and games also. Like I've seen a lot of gaming indie game companies from Kenya trying to make games that could actually compete in the global market, and film as well. Like we know, like Netflix, there's a lot more films being submitted to like the Showmaxes and the Netflix, and being considered for film festivals that have been made here. And so because of that, there's a greater, and I would think that a Kenyan-made film or Kenyan-made game would pick a Kenyan artist over anything else. And so the opportunities there are growing, definitely. So it's a slow growth, I think, but it's definitely something that we can benefit from more. It just takes a lot of intentionality by artists to be able to learn how to present their music. It could be a very local, in terms of culture, very local, but then to present it in a way that's palatable to the rest of the world.
And listen, and I think the hyperlocal narrative is also very powerful because we've seen Brazil being mentioned as one of the top 4 places where music is consumed via streaming. Brazil is also mentioned as one of the markets that consumes its own music. That's a very, very local.
South America is very good
industry.
For that. Yeah.
India has also been cited as one place where all they like to consume is Indian music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's not bad. You know what I mean? And then they say in Africa, Nigeria is the top market that is super local in the sense that they mostly consume.
Mm-hmm. So this is interesting because the places that I mentioned, Brazil is, I think, the 7th most populous country in the world. Mexico might be 10, 11, if I'm not wrong. Nigeria is number 1 in Africa.
India is also massive.
It's all high countries with like really many, lots of people. So that's just interesting. I don't know. I don't know whether that plays into it or it's just the regions. Sorry.
It definitely does. It definitely does. That definitely plays into it.
Yeah.
but I wonder why China doesn't usually factor so much into these conversations, because I would assume China would, but then I think they're also going not against, but they
China
are
is not. China
also-
doesn't participate in pop culture.
The government has a
Yeah.
the government has a big role to play with Chinese culture.
They don't really
so maybe
participate
that's why.
in world pop culture. Honestly, they're very kept to themselves.
Yeah, so maybe that's why they're not in this conversation.
Shout out to China.
Anyway, guys, it's all very
Whole of
interesting. If you guys want to read that article, it's on Music Business Worldwide. And yes, sir. Sam, is there any interesting things
briefly-
happening in the country soon?
All right, Mr. Segway. All right, Mr. Segway. Can I speak, please? Thank you. Jeez, guys are dying to do the segue too. Last year I attended. Saying last year is wild in January. It just feels odd to say that. But then last year I attended the Kilele Summit, and they're back again. They will be in town from February 23rd to the 28th. So that's this coming month. It's not too far away. And yeah, they're going with sound and solidarity for their theme. Again, collaborations, technology, location. It's going to be at the Mall Westlands like it was last year, which is it was a very accessible place to be. In terms of guests, they're going to have Martin Glover, who is a producer for Paul McCartney. He's worked with Pink Floyd, doing a masterclass. They're going to have Jessica Aslan, and a couple of other people. Those are the notable ones, but it's a couple partnering with Ableton, Focusrite, which is, I think Focusrite is responsible for every home podcast. I mean, not podcast, every home studio.
This podcast is brought to you by Focusrite.
Sponsored by Focusrite. Yeah. Adam Audio, the Danish Cultural Institute being part of it, Pro Helvetia. I think that's how I pronounce it. Johannesburg and the Braid Fund funding it. It's just going to be good. There's going to be performances. There's going to be the thing I really loved about the last edition is the technology. They had like a room where people were creating instruments. The Instruments Makers Lab, I think, is what they call it. And they're going to have like an artist there, sort of like working and developing, helping with that. It's just fun. It's a very good place to sit down and learn about music, different forms of music, also music in different cultural contexts, because there's people from all over the world coming together. I'm excited to see that Jim Chuchu will be part of it. I think Jim Chuchu is a very brilliant musician, part of the I was going to say Boys to Men, Just a Band, part of the Just a Band crew. So. That's the 23rd to the 28th of August at the mall. Come through if you can. It's a very good opportunity to like just learn and also connect with other creatives. So
yes, sir, man.
Let's get into.
Do you? Yeah.
You want to segue? Go ahead.
New music.
Do you want to segue it?
No. I'm saying let's talk about new music, bro.
Oh man.
I guess I'm going to start because in the past few weeks, Sam, you've just been saying everything that I've listened to. So, let me
Why are you acting like?
let me be.
Acting like a toddler.
Why am I acting? Okay, so this week we had so in the intro you would have heard that we played Caliber by for Mr. Frank White and BigMan.
Banger.
44 Affair, man. Shout out to these guys, man. One thing I really respect about for Mr. Frank White always is his artistic direction. I think he's really strong at that. And yeah, they're really good at hopping on that like early 2000s sound. So shout out to them. You'll go listen to 44 Affair. I also listened to Usimedi na Mimi by Mad G. Mad G has been on a run. He's really getting a lot of traction right now. So shout out to Mad G. Listen to Hood Boys. They released a song called Clap featuring Major. So Major blessed them with a verse. So shout out to them. I'm sure that's a big deal. Let's see. I also listened to what else did I listen to? Ukunda by Imran Mwangi and Bakita. Shout out to them. Oh my God, Sam. It's so hard going fast. Let's see. I listened to Boys Mamako Alikukanya by Joeface, The Lucci, Unspoken Salatone, and I Foolish. I'm really becoming a huge fan of Joeface, man. Joeface is really dope. So shout out to Joeface. Nipe D by City Boys and Mark Bully and K9. Hey, listen, this industry is diverse, man. I like it. Street Flani by Josephine as well, that came out. I would say those are the songs. Then also Horizon by Nduta Notes. It's good to see Nduta Notes start to release a lot more frequently.
That's dope. I paid a little bit of attention to a track called Running in Circles by K-Rob, Misumena, and Peter Aminu Anguria. I think they released that and then the K-Rob remix as well. Dark and Nesmburu released Hinya, which I absolutely love. And yeah, I think you mentioned all the ones. I think for our play this week, our pick of the week, we're going to go to Moto, who's a very brilliant rapper. He's been buzzing. I've been seeing a lot about him around. And so Moto and Double Gang teamed up for a song called Shamba. I really enjoyed it. I love rap. I love anything that reminds me of like old school rapping and just bars and just like honest rapping and clean flows, all of that. So, and they brought a little bit of that here. So for this week, we are going to go to Moto and Double Gang, and the song is Shamba.
Oi, PDG inakuaje?
Yo, niambie kaka inakuaje?
Mzuka na mtresi Bushi simpati baba.
Bushi na sijui hata vipi yani. Kwani uko nini?
Kulikuwa na issue leo tunaingia shamba baba. Tunajua kitana. Hebu check background
bwana. Mwana Juma sukuje na mwana city. Twende shamba manarada ziko fiti. Sulize kuleo talewa kupeo tapewa. So chungo silete mititi. Nimesizi macho zimenyanya. Zima jugu zinanichanganya. Na masela tukisha kutana. Tuwezi kukwazana.
Pigie simu ambie stima haijatosha. Kuna mzigo wa kuchukua, ibuka mtopanga posta fasta. Tembeza raba shake rado skypusha kaka. Ukiona kiwingu kausha. Usishtuke ukiona wana wameshika zuna. Wanga ni fashion tu, ila vita hakuna. Ila usibugi usilete maswala ya kiku. Usilete unoko machoko huku wanatuna.
Karibu shamba mwana ndogo tumagie dundu. Karibu shamba braza meni bichi ya kizungu. Karibu shamba bichi la mazela joturuke nama. Karibu shamba braza meni tumagie dundu. Karibu shamba mwana ndogo bichi la kizungu. Karibu shamba bichi la mazela joturuke na madera.
Madundo na dundu amelewa nataka bonga kizungu bada donke aniga wezi compare cheki babja na kutazama vishunundo kila mtu na mtu wake ebeka rugaje na mtu wake choma kitu selamini tembeze na karibu shamba zenye pande za wase
sheria unangoa sio jino chukua ndoa kwako kwangu tukichoma make sure yakohoa janjo kinelewa jua mjinga amechelewa kula bata upanya leo vyote finaliwa sana shamba anga zetu tu ni the blues na visina ma sister do mikono juu hapo vipi hapo vipi hapo vipi iko vipi
karibu shamba mwana ndogo tumagie dundu karibu shamba braza meni bichi la kizungu karibu shamba bichi la mazela joturuke nama karibu shamba braza meni tumagie dundu karibu shamba mwana ndogo bichi la kizungu karibu shamba bichi la mazela joturuke na madera
jini kuna party twenzetu shamba pita bamburi wone night club inavyobamba umalizi mademu wazuri shamba wapate soko mjinga kwa Sam's wamejipamba kila mtu namba kila dogo janja sio mapanga tunapanga tunapata mkwanja pombe na ganja na tuleta pamoja na sote familia watoto wa baba mmoja DJ cheza ngoma za shamba
sana shamba
imekubamba ingia kati tuonyeshe ndanda wanono wembamba ruka misamba ukiona demu na umemuelewa chukua namba oya zena wesi ni mke wa mtu
kaza
usijichanganye, usiwe kamba,
takazwa.
ila tuwe makini, chooni kuna mende, tupo kazini, ukija shamba beba jembe. Tunawakumbuka wenetu walioko mangani, hatuwezi wasahau japo tuko wote maskani. Usiwaze, tupo tunawakilisha nyumbani, mtatukuta sherehe zipo hadi mwakani. Kisauni, Shamba, Magongo, Shamba, Likoni, Shamba,
Twezetu shamba,
Kilifi,
Shamba,
Malindi,
Shamba,
Kwale,
shamba, twezetu shamba.
Nairobi vipi jomba?
Sio shamba kule, labda shamba la mae. Maka mada, sido maka mada.
That was Shamba by Moto and Double Gang. Go stream that, run it up. Shout out to those guys. And yeah, man, it's music released.
New music, man. I'm going to start my group and it'll be called Triple Gang. But hey, guys, thank you as always for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate all you guys, man. Trust me, you guys just make quadruple gang even. Quintuple gang, sextuple gang. Let's even get
gang.
to the septuple.
Yo, that's not a hard. Like, if anyone comes and says that, they're rather coming to me as, yo, we're the quintuple gang and we have a song for you. Like, no, get off stage.
That's a vibe.
Get off
That's
stage.
a vibe. I actually respect it.
Quintuple gang.
But like I was gonna say, as always, we started this podcast because we want to see Kenyan artists paid more and played more. And if you're new here, I usually like to end the podcast with the 3 C's, essentially a mantra that I devised for myself. And I thought I would help, or it would be helpful to share that on the podcast. Because these are things that I'm trying to do to improve myself as an artist. Number one, being confident. Always be confident in your art. Never project anxiety, at least to the masses. Well, yes, always be confident in your art, because if you are not confident with your art, then who will be? Number two, consistency. Be consistent in both the way you create your art and also the way you release it. I'm not saying you should release your music every week, but make sure you have a plan and you're releasing consistently. You have to be in people's faces in this time and age when even AI is flooding the streets. You need to be in people's faces. And number three, craft. Always strive to improve. You need to dedicate 5 minutes every day to doing the thing that you love. I know everybody's days are usually so busy, especially in this time and age, but like 5 minutes, everybody has 5 minutes at the very least to dedicate towards like progressing yourself. So those are the 3 C's, man.
That's cool. Nothing from me. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, and for the first time ever, I'm going to say this joke. Next episode is going to be the big 167, right?
Oh no!
The
God,
episode 167.
All right, man. Listen, I'm out.
So we'll
next one,
we'll catch you guys on the next one, which will be episode 167. So see you guys then. Goodbye.